everyone, and welcome to the 6th edition of the Virtual Grand Prix. It doesn't feel like we've done this many, Jason, does it?
No, it's all sort of just flown by.
6 weeks been and gone, and Ben has decided to do 18 rounds of golf in the Lake District instead of joining us. I am absolutely offended.
Unbelievable.
He will be missed, but we're going to have a great race without him. I think we should have a brilliant race just to spite him. What do you say, Jason?
Yeah, I'm up for that. I mean, top 4 right now, we're all quite close together, so even playing field.
It has, as the tournament, or the championship has, it's not a tournament, why did I say that? As the championship has grown, we have found that there are 4 key contenders when it comes to race wins. We have Ollie, who has pretty much always been on the podium, apart from the time when he did not start due to connectivity issues. We'll chalk that up as a bit of a Max Verstappen crashing it into the barrier on his formation lap. We also have AJ, Jason and Thomas, and
As I spin.
as you spin, but you know, it's practice. This is anything, you can do anything you want. This is the first or last minute of practice before we get set up and ready for the qualifying session. To everyone joining us live on the stream, thank you for being with us. It means a heck of a lot. And Bongo is having a great time in the gravel trap. So Jason, have you got any predictions for this event?
Well, given that Thomas has absolutely blitzed what we were doing yesterday, a 43, I'd expect him to be winning this. He's got a good shout of winning this. Adam has taken over Ollie as well, which was surprising. But yeah, I mean, all of the times going down the grid, it's either 45s or, like 2 seconds off that. So it's going to be a massive midfield battle for you to spectate today.
It always is, and to be honest, the carnage that sometimes comes as a result of that midfield battle, not naming any names, Jolien, but it can be brilliant to watch. Oh, sorry, did that slip in? Oh, I do apologise, Joel. I'm so sorry. But, this is all just a bit of fun, and at the end of the day, we do have a laugh, especially watching back. Some of the chaos that happened in Spa with, I believe it was Harold, absolutely blitzing it up Radion and ignoring the corner on the opening lap. But then that turned into all sorts of chaos when cars started flying through the air, and we were watching it back, just laughing. And it is just a bit of fun. So, Jason, although you are winning, please don't take it too seriously.
Well, watching that race replay, I'm sorry, but that has to be the funniest thing we've ever seen. Just everyone bullying Rowan.
Could you imagine if that happened in real life, though? How terrifying would that be?
Well, I don't think you'd be worried too much because he'd get black flagged immediately.
Well, of course.
Disqualified
We are
instantly.
Slightly concerned about some race starts. I think it's very important to note that this is a series for all abilities. Absolutely everyone is welcome. Controllers, steering wheel setups, Jason with an actual real car. I swear you're cheating somehow. But this is open to everyone. And I went into Monza because you've got to be really delicate on the steering, thinking that this would be a circuit that would favour those with a steering wheel setup compared to those with a controller. I don't know if you'd agree, Jason?
Yeah, in a sense, a lot of the faster corners in Sector 2, they do require a bit of finesse. I think Jonathan is probably like one of the only ones now who is still using a controller, and I can imagine he struggles with it quite a bit. Isn't the easiest thing.
Especially through the parabolica. That curve, trying to keep a consistent line with a controller is very challenging. You have to be very delicate on your joystick. So already in the chat I can see a couple of justice for Rowan after the last event. It's just funny. It's funny what's becoming out of this series. So we have a 20-minute qualifying session now taking part, and let's see if I can pick up who the first one is out of the pit lane. Jason will be sticking with me throughout qualifying, but then of course he will be leaving me for the race as he starts to concentrate on his racing line and probably tries to track down Thomas, because as you mentioned in practice, Thomas was half a second ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah, that is a brilliant lap time. Like, all of us hitting 44s thinking it's quick.
Speed.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Here he comes through, Lightning McQueen. So Joel, I believe, was the first one out onto the circuit. Or was I wrong? No, it was Rowan! Ladies and gents, Rowan is first on the track. That might be the first time and the only time I'm going to say that, but let's enjoy it whilst it lasts. He is first around Monza at the moment. And I say that and he instantly loses it going into the second chicane.
Right, I'm actually going to head out now. Stick some fuel in it, but not much.
So I'm just trying to keep on board. I will slightly be monitoring the live chat today, so I will do my best. It can be a bit chaotic. Honestly, I have two screens and I've already ran out of room. I have the track map up, I have the stream up, I have Discord. It's all gone mental, Jason. I don't like being a one-man band.
More screens!
More screens!
Man.
I need more! Well, are you there with a free screen setup for your racing simulator?
No, I only have the one, unfortunately, and then I also have I have Discord on a second monitor. But I'll tell you what, either VR or a triple monitor setup for a racing sim. That's what I'd want.
And I did actually watch a video from WTF1 comparing the different price ranges, and they went up to, I believe it was £1 million simulator, which had basically some form of piston attached to your neck, which gave you the feeling of G-force as it was working your neck going around the car, which is very real to what cars are like, because you're strapped in, your head is the only thing that's really not supported. So you could go that far, but honestly, if I had £1 million to spend, I do think I'd be spending it somewhere else first. Maybe a real car, that'd be much more valuable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been sat there looking at like Fanatec things and stuff like that, but wouldn't actually get any of it. I've got a car in real life to take care of.
So, just for those at home, I will just try and... Normally, I religiously try and use corner names because I love the history and the character of the circuit, but to try and help people out, I'm going to use a mixture of corner names and numbers. Fingers crossed that will give you the best of both worlds. So, the Parabolica, it does not need a number. Everyone should know where that is. That is the last final curve on the circuit. And that is currently... where, let's see if I can work out who it is, someone is entering, and it is, it's Jason going through the Parabolica now. As is this your first timed lap?
Yeah, so first flying lap coming up.
So would you like to give us an onboard track guide?
I can try to. Yeah, I'll give it a go.
So going down into the first corner, Jason, away you go.
Braking on the 150 board. Heavy on the brakes down to first gear. Got to be really, really tense with getting through that chicane. Really easy to slide on the exit.
And then this corner is just hold the throttle and hope it sticks. It is beautiful.
Probably one of my favourite corners on the circuit, to be honest. Braking just before you get under the bridge. Down to first again for this chicane. Same case with the first chicane, you've got to get it slowed down enough and you've got to keep it steady. So easy to slide out on this track.
Now into the first Lesmo, a corner I can never get right. And that's the second Lesmo, bringing you on to the last straight before any real corners. I've got it slightly wrong, but heading into Ascari, which is such a brilliant series of corners.
Yep, same thing again, braking just before the bridge, down to second gear, chuck it into the left, pray it sticks. And it's hard on the throttle all the way out.
And any time or any speed you lose through Ascari will punish you all the way down this back straight.
Get all the way out wide in Parabolica, try and carry as much speed as you can. good lap by any means, but
Well, I do
start.
apologise, as I was asking you. I'm sure you were hoping to get a banker in, but I really appreciate you taking us for a lovely lap of the Monza circuit. So, a rundown of the racing. Well, what the drivers have been told in the drivers' briefing. The race will run for 16 laps. 16 laps of carnage around this Monza circuit, I expect. Visual damage is on, but actual damage will not take effect, so we will not see any mechanical retirements unless they happen in the real world. Tyre wear and fuel consumption is on. It is very important, as we saw at previous events, that drivers fuel their cars appropriately, otherwise they will either be eking into the pit lane or not quite making it to the pit lane and will be out of the race. All assists such as traction control, steering control, ABS, virtual driving lines are welcome. This is a series for all. If they have a controller or a steering wheel set up, please, we love having people a part of it, and the more they are a part of it, the more fun I think the races are. If a driver spins for any reason off of the track, they must wait until it is safe to rejoin. Very important, as we do not want to see anyone crashing into each other unnecessarily, especially if it's for race positions. The race is meant to be non-contact, but as we saw in the past, you may get a series of drivers who have given up on the race and want a little bit of a destruction derby. They are okay to do so as long as they do not interrupt the leaders of the race. Track limits and restrictions and penalties are all in place, so if we get someone who thinks they're really clever and absolutely dives down the first corner, not really braking at all, they will be given a timed penalty. If they get a series of timed penalties, they will then be disqualified. And Jason, do you remember what the limit is, or are you in the middle of a corner?
I believe it is 30 seconds, upwards of 30 seconds before it's drive-through and then disqualification. And also, if they then go to do that drive-through and speed in the pit lane, instant disqualification.
Instant disqualification, as we found out in practice yesterday. And I do like the way you worded this driver's briefing. Point number 11. At Monza, the curbs are deadly, so try to avoid becoming SpaceX's next launch by avoiding them at all costs. And that is incredibly true. We were going to do this circuit with the Formula Renault cars, but we found that the curbs were just way too intense. So instead we opted for the GTEs. And Thomas with the Ford, he set an absolutely blistering lap time of 1:43.7. 6 tenths quicker than AJ in second place, also in the pits, and Jason, I think, is now out on circuit, so we'll leave him to it. Bongo with an amazing lap time, currently put him in 4th, but Ollie down in 8th position, so he has got a proper lap time to put in if he is hoping to start the race. It wasn't very respectable looking at it. He's 8 seconds down. I'm pretty confident he can go quicker than that. So I do wonder what happened to him, as we only have 11 minutes left of qualifying. And whilst we do have a bit of downtime, let's take a little look at the championship as it currently stands. Jason is the leader with a 90-point total after 5 rounds. He has 3 wins to his name at Silverstone, Brands Hatch and Spa, but did not start at Alton Park, and that's probably hampered his total points. Second is Adam, a late starter to the competition, missing the Silverstone race, but he has been with us ever since and has been very consistent, with a win at Alton Park, a 2nd place at Brands Hatch and a 3rd place at Le Mans. Maybe a 4th place actually, 4th place in the fastest lap at Le Mans, I apologise. He is 2nd with 67 points, and it is a battle for 2nd place in the championship, as Ollie also has 67 points. So it is very, very tight between them. And looking further down, I can see that the spreadsheet might be a little bit wrong, Jason, as Rowan has been gifted 25 points for Spa. Caught me out, as you may have told. I just started stuttering there as I was looking down, going, hang on, something's not right here.
Yeah, that was the joke that came out of Spa. Rowan gets a race win.
Well, you know, he's such a nice guy. He does deserve it, as everyone does. I mean, having a chat afterwards. The debrief after the races are always some of the funniest conversations, as we are now entering into the last 10 minutes of qualifying. Jason going through the second Lesbo, slingshotting himself down into Ascari. Let's see if we can jump on board with someone else. And who don't we normally get a chance to watch? And I think we're going to jump on board with Alfie now with a beautiful custom livery. Beautiful black and green. If I remember, and if people tell me, I am able to put custom liveries onto the models, so he is currently sporting a beautiful car there with a lovely rainbow on the front as well. I'm not sure if that's a We Racers 1 tribute style of Formula 1.
No, I believe that's a thank you NHS logo on the bonnet there.
Well, that I have massive respect for. That is brilliant to see. And honestly, during this pandemic, the reason we started these virtual streams was all because of the pandemic, and the NHS have done a fantastic job. So, brilliant to see on a custom livery. Even the drivers are supporting that as we speak. And Jonathan has a very bashed up car going into the second chicane, and he lights up the rears, spins, and Jonathan is going to be looking to set another lap there. As the curbs, well, if you ever needed proof that these curbs can send you into space, that is all you needed to see, as Jonathan's rear end went flying up into the air. And he is not having a good day out on the circuit. So we'll now go to Max, who is heading out onto the track. And Max joined me last race to help me in commentary. He was a little bit, oh actually no, he joined me at Le Mans, I believe it was, to help me in commentary. So if you're wondering why you remember that name, that is why. He was a little upset not to be racing in that event, as he didn't realise it was for points, but to be honest, in the midfield battle, I'm not sure it's going to make too much of a difference. But he has got 2 4th places to his name, so maybe he's going to be hunting down that podium position, as he's currently got a time good enough for 4th. And I do wonder with this qualifying session, would we ever do a knockout series, or is that something we could not do in Project Cars?
I don't think Project Cars supports it, which is a big shame.
Especially if we ended up having a wet qualifying session, that would be really fun to see as people frantically change their tyres, change their strategy.
Yeah, I've got some things in mind for Bathurst, just to add a little bit of spice.
Is there any hints going to be dropped, or is it so far all under the lid?
I don't know, but let's just say you hit the wall and your car suddenly just doesn't work anymore.
I think that will turn into a very small number of drivers. But we shall see.
To be honest, I was going to do it for an earlier race than that, but I sort of left it, and now we have like the 2 tightest corners, or 2 tightest tracks possible, Long Beach and Bathurst to come. So I'm just like, well, should we do it, or we save everyone the headache?
Well, Bathurst will become the title decider. Potentially, yeah. It is the last event with Long Beach, the penultimate event. I am so looking forward to Long Beach. I've been looking forward to it ever since I actually drove it in Project Cars 2. It is such a lovely track with brilliant overtaking spots, which is really rare for a street circuit. I just adore it. But let's not get distracted.
Well.
We are here at Monza, home of Italian motorsport, I guess we could say, but it is definitely the home of speed. This is really where your engine power shows. And with that said, which car is the best performer on this track in your opinion, Jason?
To be honest, they're all so, like, you know, they're all equal in the GTE class. I think the only one that's not is actually the BMW, because it's terrible in a straight line.
Like, might be why we're not seeing anyone use it, or did someone do it for a bit of a laugh?
I did it for a laugh yesterday, and I think I got like 2nd. But it's not a great idea to actually like use it seriously.
And I think this is going to become a very serious race. Thomas, 4 tenths ahead of Jason. Battle for the podium. Let's see if there is anything left, if Jason can find a sprinkling of speed. But the first lap is a standing start, and that does mean quite a bit of chaos. Fingers crossed we'll see drivers getting through cleanly, but you never know. You never know in racing, anything can happen.
That's why I put a big point on the driver's briefing about turn 1.
And of course, yes, the escape road will be allowed. I'm not sure how Project Cars 2 reflects on it, but I think if you go slowly through the escape road, it won't impact your race or give you a penalty. And with only 4 minutes left to go, I must say I'm a little bit shocked. I was half expecting some of the midfield drivers to pair up with each other and give each other a tow going down these straights, as we see all the time from various different motorsports. Giving a tow to your teammate is a massive advantage.
I nearly just rolled the car.
Sorry, Jason?
Nearly not taking my own advice, nearly just rolled the car.
It's a good job only cosmetic damage is on.
Yeah, I would have been done for.
Oh, beautifully timed as Joel comes out, potentially for his last qualifying lap. So, roughly 2 minutes for an out lap. Anyone who is not on the circuit at that point will almost definitely fail to reach the line. Tyres do come out warm though, so you can hit the track running, but you will take out a bit of life. And unlike Spa, I do not anticipate any pit stops this event.
No, I think because we sort of like left it too late to discuss forcing a pit stop, I think this is all we're going to get. We're just going to get one clean run.
Which in a way is pretty good, because a pit stop can disrupt the racing. If you have cars close on the track and they try and do an undercut, that does actually stop the on-track overtaking. So it's a bit of a give and take. Sometimes it adds better racing, sometimes it removes the opportunity to see drivers get the job done on the track. So, personally, I'm happy not to have forced pit stops. But of course, it does add another element to the race, especially it turns drivers not just into drivers but also strategists at that point as well. I think it makes practice a lot more important. But we are now into the final 2 minutes of practice. Sorry, qualifying. I said practice way too many times there. And we're currently on board with Joel, who is in 10th place, going through Ascari, seeing what he can do on his lap time. And behind him, I'm not sure if that is Jonathan. Let's have a quick look.
No, that will be me.
Oh dear! Well, Jason getting the tow from Joel actually. So, as I mentioned previously about teammates working together, I don't know if
it's going to be more of a hindrance though, because if I catch him on this first long straight and I can't get past him, it might jeopardise the lap a bit.
This is, I don't want to put any pressure on him, but this is your last chance to out-qualify, well, Thomas and AJ, as AJ's actually got ahead of you. 1/100th of a second between the two, and you are going down the inside of Joel. Looks like he gave you some room, but let's see if this is going to be the lap time you need to get into second place. This might be the furthest Jason's ever started.
Looking at the delta, I don't think so.
So could this be, for the first time, Jason starting on the second row of the grid? What a story this is starting to shape up to be, as Ollie currently only in 7th position, so I'm not sure if he has the pace to get up a little bit further. Alfie doing an incredible job in 4th with a lovely lap time that has put him ahead of Bongo Cat. And as you mentioned about the midfield is incredibly close, with Bongo and Max only a 10th of a second between the pair. And Ollie might actually find himself battling with Martin here, and someone has spanned. Not quite sure what it is, but Alfie doing a great job to avoid them. Let's see what this lap time can yield for them as they come across the line with only 6 seconds to go. So it wasn't quicker, but he has got another lap in hand if he wants it. We're now going to go back on board with Jason. 3rd place, only 1/100th of a second behind second. Can he improve his lap time to beat AJ? Through the parabolica, keep it nice and smooth. slingshot yourself onto the straight, and this is going to be his last lap. So, Jason, what do you think?
Maybe.
And it is! It's enough to go second! 2/10 up on AJ's time, and AJ is in the pits, so he will be third. I think Thomas can breathe a sigh of relief as he has claimed pole position like he did in Le Mans. But this time, can he turn it into a race victory, or will he find himself drifting wide once again, battling, defending from Jason?
That's the first 143 I've ever actually done on this track.
And it was only just a 143, but was it a crucial time to do it? Second place. Brilliant job there as Alfie still going around the circuit. He is on his last lap time actually, so we still have one car who maybe could find his way up ahead of AJ, Jason and Thomas. What a story this would be. Sporting the beautiful Support the NHS rainbow there on his livery, bringing it into the Parabolica, the final corner of this Monza circuit. Slingshot himself down the main straight, and he is still going for it with 1.7 litres of fuel left on board. Going to the inside to try and get a quicker time, the shortest line possible, and I don't think it was enough. I think that was still fourth for Alfie.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but just developments from the lobby. Everyone's voting to kick Joel.
And has that gone through? Is Joel left?
No.
Okay, well, Jason, you better head off and prepare for the race, as so will I. So, thank you for joining us, Jason. Take care and good luck.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Okay, so here we are preparing for the start of the race here at Monza. You can feel the tension. And thank you everyone for joining us today. This is going to be a brilliant circuit. Monza is a true cathedral of speed, unmatched around the world for its sense of history and passion, mostly due to the brilliant Italian fans that attend the circuit and cheer on their heroes. The circuit has hosted many events, but never have we hosted a Virtual Grand Prix here. And it's time to go racing! Qualifying on pole was Thomas with a blistering lap time of 1:43.8, I believe. Jason with a last minute lap to get himself up into second. They are on the front row of the grid. Third place is AJ, and alongside them is Alfie with a brilliant lap time. Alfie probably with his best qualifying performance so far this season. Fifth place is Bongo, with sixth is Max. Seventh place is Ollie, with 8th Martin, 9th is Ruben, and 10th is Joel. Let's go racing as we are off, and AJ getting an amazing start on Jason there, already ahead going into the first corner. Thomas getting a brilliant start as well, but AJ looking down the inside line, 3 abreast into the first corner. Thomas goes round the outside, making contact with Jason, but Jason gives him room and allows Thomas to take the lead. AJ incredibly close there on the back of the 3. Can he get through? But no, he has found himself back in the third place, and Alfie doing an amazing job to keep into fourth. But Jason has AJ all on the back. He now looks to the inside. That's the outside going into the second chicane. Jason got to keep that braking point. And is that AJ looking to the inside line? And AJ gets, not AJ, Alfie gets taken out there, I believe, by Joel. So that is unfortunate for Alfie. Just got caught up on the curbs, turned in and took Alfie out. What a shame for Alfie's race. And as we watch that at the back, AJ has now fallen back from Jason. So an amazing amount of contact, which was such a shame there. And Jason keeping it very close. We're going to follow these through the first lap. Jason doing his best in the slipstream of Thomas to catch up. Into Ascari we go. And everyone keeping it clean. Looking further down, we have Bongo Cat in 5th. Ollie has now been promoted up to 4th after all of that contact. And very close behind the pair, we can see Jason getting ever closer to Thomas. But further back, Bongo Cat chasing down Ollie, and it looks like he's going to make a move on the inside of the Parabolica. Does he make it stick, or does he go too deep? Looks like he made it stick. Bongo Cat up into 4th. What a brilliant move on Ollie there, also sporting a custom livery. And further back down the field we have Martin chasing after Ollie. Is he going to be the next one to line up and overtake? As we're going into the first corner, it looks like he has the slipstream, but Ollie also trying to dive on Bongo. Thinks better of it, as they all do, being very sensible there. This is a race of patience. You have to pick your overtaking spots very carefully, as it is a difficult circuit to overtake at. But Martin, very, very close on the back of Ollie. Has he got what it takes to catch up going into the second chicane? And he's looking for the move, giving a flash of the lights maybe, but does not get ahead. And Ollie gets ahead of Bongo through the first chicane. Can't quite see it on the camera, but he ended up going too deep off the circuit, so he will give that position back to Bongo. And Bongo goes out a little bit wide, which allowed Ollie to catch up to the back through the second Lesmo. Doesn't overtake. He looked to the inside line, but was very sensible there, giving Bongo the position, as Bongo was always going to come across. But that has put Ollie right into the back of Ruben and Martin, and contact between the pair, but they're both keeping it in a straight line. So Ruben looking to the inside of Ascari, doesn't do it, maybe loses control of his car, but is still going. But now we have Martin catching up to the back of Ruben. There is racing in the midfield, as we said there would be. Thomas currently 1.7 seconds ahead of Jason, so I think he's going to be running away. But Ruben and Martin look to be in a battle. And was that Martin braking incredibly late, as Ruben goes too deep into the parabolica, and both Ruben and Martin, both Martin and Alfie go through, as Alfie tries to regain control of this race after being taken out. He is going to look for an overtake on Martin on the outside of the first chicane. Absolutely brilliant by Martin, positioning his car exactly where it needed to be. Alfie getting a little tap by Ruben. And Ollie currently in 5th place, so Bongo's done an amazing job to catch up to him, but Ollie maybe making a comeback. Into the second chicane we go, but doesn't do it there. So let's have a quick look, as Thomas is now 5 seconds ahead of the pack, so he is pulled away an amazing lead. And AJ got ahead of Jason, so I missed that unfortunately. AJ now ahead of Jason, and that's going to allow AJ to move up the grid. As we go back to Bongo Cat and Ollie, as they are neck and neck, side by side on the rear bumper. Ollie positioning his car so that Bongo cannot get ahead, but Bongo in the slipstream has the faster car, and behind those we have what I believe is Alfie and Martin battling for position as we go into Ascari. Bongo Cat on the inside, which allows Ollie to get the inside, but no! Bongo Cat retains the position and has now put himself up into 4th. I'm struggling to keep track of all of these people. So Martin, unfortunately, not able to get ahead of Alfie. And Ollie again looking to overtake Bongo as we go into the parabolica. Not close enough as they fall into the slipstream. But the first chicane is where you can get the job done, as Ollie is very close. Alfie also gaining on the pair in front as they're battling for position. All they have to do is keep it clean. Ollie going to the inside line. Can he make it stick into the braking zone? Alfie also going into the inside. 3 abreast into the first chicane. Ollie turns in. Alfie brakes, allowing Ollie to get ahead. But now Alfie on the outside has a bit of a run. Both into the gravel trap. And that's allowed Martin to come through. He's gained 3 positions there. As Bongo Cat in 5th. Ollie in 6th. And Alfie in 7th. Bongo Cat doing an amazing job, but couldn't defend against all of that chaos, as now Alfie trying to overtake Ollie. Ollie goes incredibly deep and hits the back of Martin. That sends him into a spin, and unlike last week, he is not using the restart button, so he is approaching the track correctly. And that has taken him momentarily out of this race, but Bongo on the back of Martin. Can he gain? There has been brilliant overtakes as we're on the 4th lap of this race. I haven't even managed to keep track. So down the back straight into Ascari. Bongo keeping it as close as possible so that he can get the slipstream. and will maybe look for an overtake into the first corner. The Parabolica's not traditionally a place to overtake, as we see AJ and Jason go through at the bottom of our screens. Martin pulling to the inside line of Parabolica. That is going to hinder his racing line as he has to brake a little bit early. Bongo Cat looks to the outside of the Parabolica. Can he make it stick? Martin keeping ahead, but that is giving Bongo Cat the run, and you can see the speed difference as they now power into the first chicane. Bongo Cat has claimed the inside line, but Martin pulling ahead. Maybe a higher top speed on that Ford. And ever watching is Alfie in the background to see if he can make a position up. And Martin only just retaining that, but he does go a little bit deep, bringing Bongo once again onto the back of his car. And all of this has allowed Alfie to sneak up to the pair, and he looks to for an overtake. Around the outside, are you crazy? Keeping it off of the gravel, he doesn't make it work, but now Bongo Cat again looking to the inside of the chicane. He goes in, Martin turns in as they both go over the rumble, and what do you know, Alfie's going through. Bongo Cat spinning there, and he does use the reset button. With Ollie now back into the fight, so you can't catch a moment's breath. We're on the 5th lap, and still the midfield are battling hard for the 5th, 6th and 7th positions, as Alfie's now managed to gain a bit of an advantage ahead of the pair. So can he keep that? Now we'll have a bit of a rest as Ruben is into the battle. So let's see if he can find his way up some positions. He is now battling Ollie, going through Ascari. That car looks to be planted exactly where he wants it as they now slipstream down the long back straight. You can see the gap that Alfie has built up on Martin, to Bongo Cat, to Ollie, to Ruben, and we're now going into the Parabolica. Ollie keeping it as close as he dare can, but he pulls a tighter line through the Parabolica, maybe trying an overtake. But he is very close into the slipstream, and that is going to allow him to have a run into the first chicane. Will he dare outbrake Bongo Cat as we go in? They hit the braking zone, and he does. He outbrakes. Can he make it stick? Bongo Cat doing his best. They turn in, and Ollie only just missing as Ruben does hit the back of Ollie there. Caught off guard by the speed difference between the pair as they navigated their way through the chicane. And Ollie right on the back of Bongo Cat. Looks to the inside line. Can Ollie make it stick? They are exchanging positions left, right and centre. Bongo goes a little bit deep, catches the back end of Ollie, and Ruben hits the front of Ollie. Those pair, they can't kiss, and Ollie struggling to keep it on without spinning out, and that has allowed Ruben to come through. Now up into 9th position. Sorry, Joel to come through up into 7th position. So they are really losing a lot of time battling each other. And Joel going off the track, so Ollie's going to be coming back on. Overtakes Joel. Does Ruben also get the overtake done? He does safely as the front bumper is hanging on by a thread. So Joel, he gained 2 positions due to contact between the two ahead, but went off himself, and that allowed them to regain. So the order as it currently stands on lap 6. Thomas is in 1st position with a 7-second lead. 2nd is AJ battling Jason. 4th Alfie, 5th Martin, 6th is Bongo, 7th is Ollie, 8th is Ruben, and the car we are watching, Joel, is in 9th. Max is in 10th position, Rowan is in 11th, and Jonathan is in 12th. The bottom 3 all with penalties. So we've been watching the midfield battle. We're now going a bit further back as Max is gaining onto Joel. Flashing, only the one light still working. But he is far too back to make a dive up the inside. Surely he won't think about doing it. But Joel still defending there, and Max does go incredibly deep. Doesn't quite make the chicane, rides the rumble strip. And away they go. So no overtakes were performed there as Max struggling to slow the car down. It did look like he was going incredibly deep. We're now going to go back on board with Ruben as he starts to catch up on Ollie. And as we're watching that, Ollie loses it through, I believe it's the second Lesmo. Or was it the first Lesmo? It was the first Lesmo. And that has allowed Ruben to gain into 7th position. And further back we can see Max and Joel. Joel getting on the grass there. That would have hampered his top speed. So will Max be attacking him going down this main straight? It looks like he's gaining, but it's hard to tell. Ollie has really been struggling to keep it on the track this race. Maybe trying a bit too hard to regain some positions. Maybe he just needs a lap to cool off, calm down, find his groove and make it stick. But we are now watching Joel and Max battling for position. Less than a second between these 3 cars on our screen. And is that Joel maybe making a run on the back of Ollie there? Very different lines as we go through the parabolica. As Jason was saying, you want to bring it out wide and get a run. All of the speed you scrub off will hamper you down the straight. So Max tried a late lunge last time. Will he do so this time? Is Joel getting very close to the back of Ollie there? And is he making a stick? Lights up the rears but doesn't spin. Very well controlled by Joel, but that has allowed Max to catch right up to the back. In the slipstream, you can see Joel trying to break the toe, but Max is sticking right to the back of that car, and Joel going very deep there into the second chicane. So Max once again gaining time as Joel is under pressure. Into the first Lesmo we go. You have to be so patient round there, otherwise you end up on the gravel. Max incredibly close as we go into the second Lesmo, and he will carry the speed. Joel really slow. Max tries to avoid it. Goes into the grass, onto the grass, and that has just taken away all of the hard work he has been putting into gaining Joel. He's going to be so frustrated with that, but that has meant Joel can breathe for another lap as they go into Ascari. Ollie now catching up to Ruben. And this is a very different story to what we're used to, as we have Thomas in the lead, AJ in second, and only third on the podium is Jason, normally used to a race victory. I think he has been bettered around this circuit as the gap is now 14 seconds off the leader. But Ollie, very, very close to the back of Ruben, going down the main straight. A lunge into the first corner is probably what we're about to see, as he does pull to the inside line. And he thinks about the outbreak, but no, he keeps it clean, pulls back behind Ruben, and that was very, very sensible driving. And we should look behind, as I believe Max was getting ever closer to the back of Joel, as they are. So we're currently watching 2 battles, 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th taking place. Joel is known to be a very, very aggressive defender. We're going to go on board with Ruben into the corner, and they both go very deep. Ollie once again losing it, so that is going to allow Joel and Max through as they do get through. Max unable to overtake Joel, but he'll be happy to gain the position on Ollie. And that's given Ruben a chance to run away in 7th position. And Joel goes onto the gravel. Max follows, but Max seems to keep his speed better than Joel. And Ollie once again spinning in the back, but further up the track, Max has just got ahead of Joel. And does Joel look for another dive? He has got some speed in the slipstream. He does look to the inside line. Max pulls in, and Joel was too far back. So Max finally getting the job done on Joel. He will be chasing after Ruben. We're now starting to see where everyone is falling on this grid. 9 laps completed. Joel diving to the inside of the parabolica there, so I don't think he's close enough in the slipstream of Max to make a lunge, but he now needs to regroup and control his race. back on board with Ollie, who has really struggled. He has been renowned for his consistency throughout the previous races. Monza proving to be too much of a challenge with its high-speed corners and late braking zones. But the battle for 8th and 9th still isn't finished. Joel looking to regain his position on Max. I think this pair are going to be exchanging till the very last lap. And it won't be long until we start to see the leaders coming through the pack. And as I take a sip of water, Max very slow out of the second chicane. That's allowed Joel to go around the outside, and they make contact as Joel tries to move in. But Joel keeping the position, and through the second Lesmo we go with Joel ahead of Max. Max with a brilliant run though. He just has that corner so much better hooked up than Joel. And that is a brilliant run as we now go into Ascari. So Max with all the speed he can want. Joel defending with all his might. Max moves to the inside line. Joel brakes. But Max does go through, and Joel, maybe a little tap on the back of Max there, I couldn't quite tell, but Max off into the gravel, and he pulls in behind Joel. So, as I said previously, Joel renowned for his aggressive defending. He's had a lot of practice of it, as Max now looking to the inside of the Parabolica. Maybe Joel giving that position back, actually, that looked choreographed. But Joel is not going to give it up. He dives to the inside of the Lesmo, then pulls it out wide, falls back into the slipstream. And are we going to see another overtaking attempt from the pair? They are giving us all the entertainment we need this evening. So the gap shrinking, but Joel getting up onto the grass, and that sends his car into a bit of a spin. Through the barriers he goes, the foam barriers. Ahead of Max, but he will need to give that position back. He got up onto the grass, that lost control of his car. And Max, very, very grateful to see Joel going off there. That has allowed him to pull away. So Joel with a second to make up there on Max as the race, I think, has finally started to calm down. So, a very, very chaotic race. What has happened so far? Well, Alfie did an amazing job to qualify on 4th, got hit on the second chicane and taken out, which put him down the pack, but he is now once again back up into 4th. So a brilliant race by Alfie, a great recovery drive. But you do wonder, could he have gotten closer to Jason if it wasn't for that contact, as Jason was struggling with his car. Thomas and AJ ahead, out in the front of the field. And is that Joel and Max close again? It is! Only 2 attempts between them, as Joel now looking to reclaim 8th position. For the midfield, these points mean an awful lot. So, Max diving left and right, desperately trying to defend. Realised he didn't need to defend the inside line. Joel was not that close. But by doing so, that's brought Joel right up to the back. And now Joel falling into the slipstream as we go on board with Joel. See the bumpiness of the track. They have to pick their braking zone carefully, especially when in the slipstream, as they'll be carrying more speed than they expect. And not close enough this lap to make a dive down the inside. Braking very conservatively there. Riding the sausage curve a little bit and just keeps out of the gravel trap. Lights up the rears to rotate the car. And that has allowed Max to pull away. So, although that battle keeps heating up, little mistakes by the pair means that we're not seeing on-track action just yet, with only 4 laps remaining. And Max going very deep into the second chicane, but I think Joel was nowhere near to be able to overtake or make up enough ground. And as we say that, Joel goes wide on the first Lesmo onto the gravel. Through the second Lesmo, he has lost a significant amount of time, and I think Max has finally, maybe just finally, claimed 8th as his own. Only 4 laps left. Can Joel do what it takes to catch up? We will find out. But now we are on board with Thomas, who has had the perfect race. This was what he was hoping from Le Mans when he qualified on pole. He stayed ahead throughout the most of the circuit, but then as we exited the long straights going through Indianapolis, he went too deep and onto the gravel, and that allowed Jason to claim the lead, and Thomas regretted that braking zone ever since. But this is going to be a race that he can enjoy, a race that he thoroughly deserves, it must be said. 13 seconds ahead of second place as we now go through Ascari, riding the curbs, keeping it clean. And ahead we can see we have some back markers on the track. So Thomas is going to have to be careful to make sure he doesn't get mixed up into any of the battles, especially between Joel and Max. Into the parabolica we go. It looks so effortless for Thomas. He is having the perfect race. And currently with the fastest lap time, and that was the new fastest lap time of the race at 1 minute 44.2. And the next quickest race lap time is a 1 minute 45, and I mentioned about the back markers maybe being a hindrance for him. And that was Jonathan struggling to keep it onto the track, but managing to get out of the way of Thomas. So great job by Jonathan there to get out of the way. Maybe going to enjoy the slipstream from Thomas, help his race pace a little bit more. And we're on board with Rowan in 11th position. Very much in his own little bubble. Let's bring up the map and see where our cars are positioned. As you can tell, even spacing actually between everyone. So Rowan into the first Lesmo with a very nice and tidy racing line. Second Lesmo. Let's see if we can work out who that is, and that is Jason behind, coming up, looking to overtake. As it seems, some circuits suit different drivers differently, and high-speed circuits such as Monza does not appear to be Jason's favourite. And he gets past Rowan very easily there. Doesn't get to enjoy too much of a slipstream. But I think he knows with only 2 laps remaining, third place is the best he's going to be able to achieve. We'll go on board with AJ. Heading into the first corner. Once again, I think that's Jonathan getting out of the way of the leaders. So the midfield did not disappoint. There was a lot of battles, especially between Joel and Max. And now, speaking of devil, Max appears to be gaining up on the back of Ruben. So Ruben was enjoying 7th place alone by himself, but Max, with 2 laps remaining, is hoping to approach and ruin the party. So let's go on board with Max. And if I was in this car, what would I be thinking right now? You know there's only 2 laps remaining, but then you see Ruben go deep into the first chicane, and that makes you think, I've got a chance, I can do this. Only 9 tenths between them. He has gained up all of that time, and 2 laps remaining, maybe only 1 actually, as these cars may be lapped. So if they're a lap down, they won't be able to complete all of the races, as Thomas only just starts lap 16. So our race leader is now starting the final lap, and Max going very deep into the second chicane. He does not gain the time he needs on Max, on Ruben. But this is where Max has been mighty through the second Lesmo. He's managed to keep a lot of speed, which has slingshotted him down the straight. I don't think he's been gaining on Ruben enough enough though. 5 tenths between them. Let's look at that time in the top left. Ruben starting to pull away slightly. 6 tenths now ahead of Max as they go into Ascari. And Max keeping it clean, but Ruben running wide, and Ruben darting across the track with Max right behind him now in the slipstream as we head into the Parabolica. This might be the opportunity that Max needed to perform an overtake on Ruben. Lots of cheering in the chat for Ruben. It's going to be so upsetting to see him get overtaken by Max, but Max is going to be doing everything he can to ruin Ruben's race, and he couldn't get the job done through the Parabolica. So now down the long main straight we go, and he again not close enough for a dive down the inside line, but he is close enough to keep the slipstream, and that is all he needs to do. But we're now going to go on board with Thomas through the Parabolica, the race winner of Monza. He had the opportunity to win at Le Mans, but he went too deep into Indianapolis and lost it. But this has been a redemption story as he has come back and claimed the race win. What a job by Thomas, winner of the 6th Virtual Grand Prix. And the cool down lap is on, so he can start to enjoy the chaos. But let's go back on board with Ruben and Max to see how this battle is unfolding. This is the final lap, so if Max can get it done, it has to be looking at the circuit going either into Ascari or into the Parabolica. They're the only 2 opportunities left for overtaking as he gets a good slingshot through the second Lesmo, as we mentioned previously. Ruben on the defensive from Max, only 3 tenths between the pair now as Max approaches the rear of Ruben. Can he get close enough? Still only 4 tenths between them, so not close enough. And I think Max went a little bit deep into Ascari, so that's given Ruben some breathing room. But Ruben going incredibly wide, and now they are side by side going down the main straight, and Max gets the job done really easy in the end. Such a shame for Ruben. He was having a great race in 7th, but lost it going through Ascari, and that's given Max 7th position. And Ruben going wide as he tries to regain the position, but cannot get it done. Max finishing in 7th, Ruben in 8th. What a brilliant race. Max on the final lap gaining a position. So, first place, Thomas, as we've already mentioned. AJ managing to get 2nd spot with Jason still on the podium. Alfie turning 4th place into a 4th place after a terrible first lap where he got taken out. A great redemption by Alfie there. Martin up into 5th position. I believe that might be the best race finishing position he's ever had as he overturns AJ. And, well, chaos ensued as we thought it would on the cool down. But there we are, the final standings of the race. Thomas in 1st, Adam in 2nd, and Jason in 3rd. Let's bring them in and have a chat as we always do. So let's start with Jason and Adam. And lastly, I need to find
Nico.
Ah, hello guys, what a race that was, but for you it was incredibly easy, out ahead on your own. Thomas, you finally did it, you finally won a Virtual Grand Prix. How do you feel?
I don't know, because I mean, it feels better than all the other races, but I mean, it wasn't really racing for much of it. I still feel much happier than the other races.
Well, maybe you now know how Jason feels when he runs ahead of the field. Was there ever a point where you were questioning your win there, Thomas?
When I found out that it was a standing start as opposed to a rolling start.
Well, the first lap did prove very tricky, but the 3 of you got through cleanly. Unfortunately, you might not have seen it. Alfie in 4th position got hit going through the 2nd chicane, but they did a great job getting back up into 4th after that contact. AJ, brilliant move on to... I wasn't expecting a hello there, I completely forgot.
Sorry.
Brilliant move on Jason there. Unfortunately, we didn't quite catch it on the camera, so could you please describe it to us?
No, I'm buzzing about that race, but no, I don't know. Jason, I don't know whether it's the heavy fuel or something like that, because he kept overshooting every chicane and just kept overdoing it, and I I mean, I was a little bit of a victim to that as well. I bumped him into the first chicane on lap 2, I think. Sorry about that one, but we both went on all right. But yeah, it just got to the second chicane. He just overdid it and got up on the curb, and that threw his car. So I managed just to pull through. And after that, I was just trying to stay nice and consistent because I knew he's fast, so he'd catch me up. But no, managed to stay in. And yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing about that.
And that was your second position, your third podium. How do you feel? Do you think you could? Was there ever an opportunity to overtake Thomas there? It looked very close as you went 3 abreast into the first corner.
Nah, he's rapid. I don't know where he practices or who he gets his training from, but I mean, 143 in practice, that absolutely threw me. I thought 144 was going to be quick, but he's of a different class than us. That's amazing.
And Ollie was really struggling throughout that race, so I'm pretty confident you have secured second position in the championship. Do you look at the championship in these races, or do you take it one by one?
Nah, we're here to race and have fun, aren't we? We're here to pull off nice moves, and the championship, yeah, it's nice to be high up, but it's not the main thing we're here for. So yeah, move on to the next one. Hopefully you can come back and have a good last 2 races, I think. So
2 races left. We have Long Beach and Bathurst left, and I'm going to go to Jason. So Jason, mentioned you were overshooting every corner there. Would you like to comment?
Yeah, well, when we're talking about battles, I think I was having a battle with the car more than I was anyone else.
So although it looked very easy from where I was sitting, you had a brilliant lead ahead of 4th position. You actually found that a really challenging race.
I should have worn more deodorant. Jesus. Yeah, that was not an easy race. Like, I was struggling through those entire first few laps because of the pressure from Adam. Of course, that just made me make some, errors. One of them which was very dear because it cost me second place. I nearly became a SpaceX project over the curb. Same place in practice. But yeah, I think after that I had just destroyed my tyres. I wasn't in it at all. I think towards the end, when everything sort of settled down, I started to rattle off some PBs, but it wasn't anywhere close to what Thomas was doing. So yeah, that was quite a struggle.
And what was your thoughts going into that first corner? Much like AJ, obviously Thomas had the pace, so even if you did get ahead, he might have overtaken. But did you think you had because I believe you're on the very inside line.
Yeah, see, do you want me to tell you my thought process when I saw Adam pull up alongside me as well?
Well, that's something actually, yeah, AJ, I never mentioned it, but what a start, AJ, you had.
thank you. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just this time I actually remembered to shift up, which was nice. So I actually got away from the line, unlike last week. But yeah, I don't know. The car just flew, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, I got a chance to try and get some overtakes here, and
yeah,
you
made it stick.
The one word in my head right there when I saw you was, "Oh God, oh help me." I was like going off. I was gonna go on the grass. I was like, oh dear, I'm gonna come blitzing into this chicane, probably take out Thomas, who's obviously on the inside or outside going in, but inside going out. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I tried to sort of I tried to break
so
a bit so we could pull through before I turned in, and then tried to allow you to have space, but. Yeah, it was very close. I can't wait to go back and watch it in a minute. It was so close that first
we
corner.
have to thank everyone further back the field as well for not being a hero and diving down into the corner, because they had an opportunity to take out everyone, but everyone was doing a great job to slow down the car and not perform a massive pile-up. So, hats off to everyone in that race for keeping it clean, and I can't wait for where we go to next. It's Long Beach, so one of my favourite circuits. I honestly can't wait. A street circuit. Do you think that's going to favour you, Thomas?
I do like Long Beach. I haven't driven this version of it, but I also don't know what it's in either. So hope it's like IndyCar or something. That'll be good fun.
That's a good point, because I don't actually know either. We haven't decided.
Well, there we go then. So I think we'll end it there. Tune in next week to find out what we're actually driving around the Long Beach circuit. To everyone who's been watching, thank you so much for following us. Those in the chats cheering on, well, Rowan and Ruben seem to be the ones who have the most fans there, but honestly, thank you for taking part and watching, and to all of the competitors, what an amazing race. Take care and stay safe, everyone.